everybody, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us is your AMC Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here is your senior editor for AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey guys, we're just having a little interstellar conversation. The spoilers is definitely going to be a good one.
And also here is AMC's Christian Harloff.
Nothing like heated debates in the morning.
Woo!
Love it.
All right, listen, guys, before we get started, I just had a couple of quick things I wanted to bring up to you. First of all, I wanted to let you guys know we of AMC Movie News have started an Instagram account. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. It's simply AMC Movie News. That's our ID on Instagram, so you can find us at instagram.com/AMC Movie News. But you're especially going to want to follow us tonight. Tonight is the world premiere red carpet of Big Hero 6, and a bunch of us are actually going to be down at the red carpet attending the premiere. We're going to be taking a whole ton of pictures, throwing them up on our Instagram account, so make sure you follow us there and check it out. And I just want to let you guys know, too, a little personal plug here thing. I have the face of a prepubescent 12-year-old child. I have not shaved for 4 days, and it looks like maybe I've gone 6 hours.
Truly.
But I am participating in No Shave November to raise awareness and raise money for the American Cancer Society. So in the description of this video after the show, you will see that I have a link to my personal fundraising page. I would love it if you guys could go over there and donate to the cause. My family's been touched by cancer. I'm sure you have family members and associates and friends of your family who've been touched by cancer. So I really want to encourage you guys to do that. And you're going to see my face get messier and messier.
I hope so.
Maybe by the end of the month, I'll have something that resembles a beard. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, let's get on with the movie news.
2 weeks ago, it was announced that actor Christian Bale would be playing the lead role in the upcoming Steve Jobs biopic, to be directed by Danny Boyle, with the screenplay by Aaron Sorkin. However, it's now been revealed that Bale has dropped out of the project, with reports claiming he didn't feel he was right to portray the role of Jobs. Leonardo DiCaprio was previously attached to the role before leaving the film, and David Fincher was also attached to direct before leaving. John, your thoughts on Bale's departure?
This is bull. This is total bull. Okay, first of all, don't tell me you're not the right guy to play Jobs. Clearly, he's the right guy to play Jobs. I mean, there are other people, there are other actors in this business who will do a great job playing Jobs as well, but don't say you weren't the right guy, because clearly you're the right guy to play Jobs. Also, don't tell us the reason you stepped down is because, I just didn't feel I was right for the role. Really? So what were you thinking 2 weeks ago when you said yes, you were going to do the role? Christian Bale's not the type of guy that's just going to go, you want me to do that movie? Okay. No, Christian Bale puts thought into it, looks into it, researches it, and decided to do it. Some people today are running around online, and I can sort of understand where they're coming from and saying, oh, it's because they're casting Seth Rogen as Wozniak.
Oh, stop.
Please. First of all, don't think for a second that the producers of this film, if they thought casting Seth Rogen was going to be a problem for their Academy Award-winning lead actor, Christian Bale, they would not have cast Seth Rogen. And not that he's cast as it is, but he's in negotiations. So if the moment Christian Bale said, I'm not sure he works as Woz, they would have stopped negotiations with Seth Rogen like that. So that's not the problem. We don't know what the problem is. I'm sure he doesn't have a problem with Danny Boyle, or else he wouldn't have signed up. I'm sure he doesn't have a problem with the script, or else he wouldn't have signed up. So this is going to be like one of those Charlie Hunnam situations where he signs up for 50 Shades of Grey, and then like a month later goes, oh no, I have schedules conflicts. It's like, no.
Best move of your career, Hunnam.
You knew what your schedule was, and then we find out there's a real reason behind it. We may never know, but I'll be curious to find out what the real reason is for him dropping it. I'm disappointed, though. I thought he would have been great for the role, so I'm sure they'll find somebody else great, but I'm a little saddened by this. Christian?
I'm bummed. I was really looking forward to this movie. I mean, whatever you want to say about Ashton Kutcher's portrayal of it, the movie itself wasn't good. And I wanted to see a really good portrayal. Steve Jobs is based off of his autobiography that was written, and I thought Bale was the perfect guy. That shot that you guys showed before, side by side, he looks just like him. I think it would have been great. I actually heard about it in the chat room yesterday. I was watching the show, and I went, no, like Darth Vader, no, like that happened. But I agree with you, John. I think that you're not really ever going to hear maybe the exact reason why. Maybe he did have a problem with maybe the direction that Danny Boyle, they just didn't agree. Maybe back and forth, yeah, I want to kind of shoot it this way or have this way, and the narrative's going to be like this, and maybe Bale didn't like the way it was going to be portrayed. Who knows? Like you said, we'll never know, but it's a bummer, and I don't know now. It's just so hard to cast. They keep losing great actors. I don't know who they're going to get.
I'm so disappointed. He was the perfect fit beyond that picture. I mean, you have to be a certain, I don't know, caliber to play Steve Jobs. You have to portray a very highly intelligent, aggressive, determined person. That's Christian Bale. So I'm really disappointed. But like Aaron Sorkin, Danny Boyle, like what is going on behind the scenes? Because these are two incredibly gifted people who have proven time and again that they know how to not only please the audience, but also, you know, bring out the best performances in the people who are working with their material. So I don't know what's happening. Yeah, Christian Bale wouldn't be the reason that, what's his name, Seth Rogen, like, come on, they would never jeopardize the lead for the supporting actor. So I don't believe that for a second. Not to mention, who doesn't like Seth Rogen?
You know what, they probably, the Seth Rogen thing is interesting because as soon as they Seth Rogen, a couple of people went, well, that's really strange. I thought, but is it so strange? Step back, think back just a little bit to another Sorkin-written script. Look at Moneyball, right? Who do you get to go off Brad Pitt? Yeah. Go get Jonah Hill, who traditionally just looked at as this, you know, funny, trips over his feet comedic guy.
And he got nominated.
And they brought him, he got an Academy Award nomination for it, right? So really, it's not that strange of a thing.
No, I was going to say, you and I talked about it recently, too, is that when you put that together, that team, it seems like it's going to be an Oscar bait movie.
Absolutely.
Especially the actual autobiography was so revered by so many people, loved it, got great reviews, everything. So for him to pull out, it's so strange because it seems like it's going to be that type of movie. However, isn't the release supposed to be for like March? Or
I can't remember.
I don't think it's an Oscar season, but it might be. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe he didn't love the script. Who knows? I don't know.
It feels like Jane Got a Gun, where everyone just kept exiting, and you're just like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, and you know, they've had Leonardo DiCaprio kind of on board. He's gone. They had David Fincher on board. He's gone. Not that Danny Boyle's exactly stepped backwards.
He can do anything.
It'll just be really interesting to see how they regroup and pull this thing off. All right, what's next?
The first trailer for the upcoming Universal Pictures spin-off film Minions has just been released. The movie is described as follows. The Despicable Me spin-off begins at the dawn of time. Starting as single-celled yellow organisms, minions evolve through the ages, perpetually serving the most despicable of masters. Continuously unsuccessful at keeping these masters from T-Rex to Napoleon, the minions find themselves without someone to serve and fall into a deep depression. But one minion named Kevin has a plan, and he, alongside teenage rebel Stuart and lovable little Bob, ventures out into the world to find a new evil boss for his brethren to follow. Minion hits AMC theaters on July 10th. Amy Rose, what do you think of the new Minions trailer?
All right, I was prepared to be like, okay, here's another cash grab from Universal, you know, one of their most successful films that really got them financially on the map. But I thought it was pretty charming, and I love the concept of, you know, trying to find the most evil master. And I love, where was it? It was like BG before Gru, and like they had so many cute little moments. This is definitely a movie I'm going to take my little nephews to see. But yeah, I thought it was charming. The concept is fresh, and they're pretty damn lovable. I'm in.
I loved it. I loved it, and I was just like you. I remember thinking, Kate, the Minions are one of the freshest, funniest things about the Despicable Me movies, but you take them in bites, right? They're a compliment to the overall story, and they work so well. And while I was on board for a Minions movie, it's definitely worth a shot. They're very marketable characters. But I thought, here comes a movie that's just to sell toys, right? So the trailer comes out. I loved it. The whole thing with Dracula and the T-Rex and Napoleon and all that kind of stuff, it just looks so great. I was instantly charmed by it. This is, now Universal, my mind's completely changed. Universal's not just making this to sell toys. They have the best toy selling strategy in the world. Make a great movie and you'll sell even more toys, and it looks like they're going that way by making a great movie first. I can't wait for this now. I'm really excited.
Oh, it was incredible. I showed my 3-year-old daughter today when I came out too. She was just laughing and cracking up. At first she saw the dinosaur, she's like, I don't know. She's like, I don't like this. And then she's like, Minions, screaming at it. It's for kids. And I was saying the same thing. Who am I kidding? Like, I loved it. And what happened with the first 2 Despicable Me movies was, as you're watching the Minions, you're like, oh, is this just going to be a one-trick pony? And then you're just waiting for them to come back. And I remember saying to myself in the second movie, I just want to see a whole Minions movie. Just give me that. And then we get it. they've obviously been developing it since the first one because they've been really building and seeing how popular they are. And I agree with you. You put together a great movie with a lot of fun jokes, and they're overkilling their jokes with the bananas and everything too, but in a good way. Like they know they're beating you over the head with it that this is what they do. They love it. Like the same way a puppy chases a mailman, they love bananas. And I am a Minion fanboy.
You know, I remember one of my favorite parts of all the Despicable Me films was at the end of Despicable Me 2 when they're singing their Boys to Men cover. I swear, and then they're doing the Village People and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited. Can't wait to see. And they're the three characters. It looks like it's really mostly going to focus on these three characters, and they seem like a great balance of characters to put in there too. And it's such a great juxtaposition. These sweet, innocent, wonderful, loving little things that are seeking to serve the most evil person they can find.
Cute.
Incredible. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of us, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
The upcoming Robert De Niro, Robert Pattinson, film Idol's Eye, which was set to go into production this month in Toronto, has reportedly been shut down. According to reports, the production company claims that the producers failed to meet a number of financial obligations and left them with no choice but to shut the production down. The company says that they will hold on to the rights to the film and look into the possibility of restarting production at a later date. Christian, buy or sell Idol's Eye being shut down?
I buy it. If you have financial agreements and you don't live up to those agreements, your project's getting shut down. It's like this is that. I'm glad that they came out and they said it. If this is in fact what happened, but if that's the case, yeah, if you don't have you have financial obligations, you don't come through to it, and they shut down your production. They said we can open it up later on. I buy the move. I think that's the way business is run.
There it goes.
I buy that this is what needs to happen, but I sell it because I'm disappointed.
Right,
I think that Robert Pattinson is making really good steps in his career. The Rover really got him in the map for me. He's beyond just Twilight. Like, he really held his own against Guy Pearce, which is no easy feat. So I'm disappointed, but yeah, they're all in a money game. If you don't have the funds for this particular film, of course it's going to get pushed.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this, but I mean, at the same time, when you really understand what goes into making a film, like just from the business point of view, I am shocked any movie ever gets made. I mean, there is such a complex web of, you know, agreements and contracts and finances and all these things, and all these particular dominoes all have to fall just into the right place, just at the right time. It's crazy how any of these actually happen. However, I'm selling it because of Robert Pattinson. I mean, look, I have never been on the Robert Pattinson train. I didn't think he was very good in anything he did after Twilight.
Did you see The
anyway.
Rover?
Including the Cosmopolis, right? A lot of people started buzz about him in Cosmopolis, and then I watched it and I'm like, this is an interesting film, but I actually didn't think he was all that strong in it. Then came The Rover. And while I don't know that he held his own with Pierce, he showed us something in that film we haven't seen from him before, and we definitely saw development. And I gotta admit, when I first heard about Idol's Eye, now put him up with another great talent, maybe that'll raise him up even more. Let's see what he's got, and I was getting excited about it. So I'm really disappointed that's not happening. So for me, it's a sell.
I mean, and we're going as far as the movie not being made. Sure, I mean that'll be a sell for me as well too. But also remember that James Franco, who's done some really great movies too, also did City by the Sea. Robert De Niro.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't always mean
true.
like Robert De Niro's done some movies that haven't always been great. He's one of the best of all time, and I agree with you. I think The Rover was Pattinson's coming out.
But let's be honest, though. There's a Robert De Niro of 15 years ago and further back, and then there's a Robert De Niro of the last 15 years.
Silver Linings
Silver
got
Linings
him
played,
back on the map. And like that small role in American Hustle, and like, yeah, David O. Russell's been good for him.
All right, what's next?
Neil Blomkamp, director of District 9 and Elysium, has just released the first official poster of his upcoming film, Chappie, starring Sharlto Copley, Hugh Jackman, Dev Patel, and Sigourney Weaver. Chappie is described as follows. After being kidnapped by two criminals during birth, Chappie becomes the adopted son in a strange and dysfunctional family. Chappie is preternaturally gifted, one of a kind, a prodigy. He also happens to be a robot. Chappie is set to hit AMC theaters on March 6th. John, buy or sell this poster for Chappie?
Well, it's not just the poster, but after the show notes were written, the first trailer for Chappie dropped. So there is a trailer for Chappie online as well now. We just saw it, and as a collective package, I'm going to sell it. I loved District 9, And we were all just losing our minds with anticipation for Elysium, and I did not like Elysium. I thought it was actually a poorly done film, and in many, many ways, I've made a video about it once. I won't go over it all now, but plot point by plot point, it was an exact carbon copy of District 9 in a narrative sense, and I was kind of disappointed with it. And what I wanted to see from Blomkamp is something that shows us he can bust outside of his own mold. He's his own mold. He hasn't fit himself into anybody else's mold. He's a unique individual. But I wanted to see something in Chappie that shows he's more than just a, for lack of a better phrase, one-trick pony. And I watched the trailer for Chappie, and it just felt like, even if I didn't know this was a Neil Blomkamp film, I would know instantly this is a Neil Blomkamp film, because this is all he knows how to do, apparently. And there was nothing about, that aside, there was nothing about the trailer that I found particularly enticing. I do like the poster. I got the big gold chain, you know, that's getting me. I like that a lot. I like the poster a lot. But the trailer itself didn't do much for me.
Just the chain, huh?
But just the chain. I mean, that's how you got some Flavor Flav action going on there.
Dear.
I'm down, but for overall, I got to sell this. I'm not impressed. That doesn't mean the movie won't be awesome. Yeah. It's just the trailer. But so far, I'm more nervous than enthused.
I'm gonna buy them. I'm definitely not like, wow, that was amazing, but I was intrigued enough about the concept, and I have no problem with an up-and-coming director sticking within their wheelhouse, sci-fi, which is obviously his passion, to really just develop and hone in on your craft and just get better and better. I was disappointed with Elysium 2. It was definitely style over substance. Even Matt Damon couldn't save that movie. But District 9, I won't forget how groundbreaking that was for the genre. And I feel like this, having Die Antwoord in it, if you don't know who they are, look them up, because they are the most fascinating, crazy duo, and they play the gangsters. So already my interest is peaked there. And I just think tonally it's cool, and he is focusing on robotic, on AI, on the evolution of that. So it is a different aspect of sci-fi. So I'm intrigued for now. And Hugh Jackman, Dev Patel, I mean, it's a good cast. So I'm definitely intrigued, but we'll have to wait and see for more.
I'm going to buy it also. I am nervous watching, because I also didn't love Elysium, because for my problem, I love District 9.
Yeah.
Problem was, for me, District 9 was it had a great story, and it was a message film, but the story and the message kind of combined together. As where, for me, Elysium, I thought the message overtook the story.
I agree.
What I'm worried about is that there's clearly going to be a message in this film as well, which is fine. That's what he does. He likes to have messages throughout his film, and a lot of filmmakers do. I just want to make sure that the story and this character, because I got a Johnny Five vibe off of it. You know, I got and meets like a Real Steel combined as well too. So
and
there's
Hugh's in it too.
Yeah. So I mean, there could be a lot of fun that comes out of it, and it could be a nice. I did like the trailer though. I enjoyed what's going on, but I completely agree. I'd like to see him maybe do some other stuff. He's shut down ever doing a Star Wars film or something along those lines, and he wants to do his own original films. But let's try to move outside the box a little bit. Maybe this one will do it. Who knows?
See, it's interesting because there's one thing to stay in sci-fi, right?
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy is sci-fi. Interstellar is sci-fi.
Right.
But those are two really completely different films. I feel like right now it feels like Neil is in a very, very short, thin corridor that is just he's just going back to the well again and again.
Political science fiction.
I would love, because when you see District 9, I want to see what can this guy do in a drama? What can this guy do with a comedy? What can this guy do in another, even a different type of sci-fi film?
Right.
There's comedy in there, though.
There is some comedy there.
This does seem a lot lighter than his other movies too. You'll probably you're going to get very attached and maybe have like an ET type feel to it, because it really does. You do get that feeling, and I love the fact that they made it clear that this is going to actually feeling emotion and becoming like a living being. I think that's fascinating. I think it could be a lot of very interesting, and it does seem like there's a lot of humor with it. I mean, even the poster, they're trying to get the humor.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. All right, what's next?
Reigning Superman Henry Cavill has started his own production company, Promethean Productions, and it appears that they already have their first project set to go. According to reports, Cavill will produce and star in a series of films based on Duncan Falconer's Stratton novels. The stories will follow John Stratton, a SBS operative who works with the Intelligence Detachment in Northern Ireland. Amy Rose, buy or sell that this is a good movie for Cavill right now?
I think it's a great move for him right now. I'm all about, especially producing. I think a lot of the times actors just want to jump in there and start directing, and we see it's very hit or miss, but I'm all about them starting to produce, learning the life of what a film actually takes. We were just talking about how difficult it is. There's so many people to one film, even if it turns out to be a bad film, they didn't expect it to be. So it's just, I think that's a really smart move to just, you know, expand yourself, challenge yourself, and I think this feels like a good fit for him as well. And it's got to be a fun role to play that kind of thing as well. So I'm on board.
Christian?
I buy it also, and I think that my favorite actor / producer is Mark Wahlberg. I think he's such a brilliant producer in what he's done so far, and his model is something to emulate, and I think hopefully Henry Cavill could do that. This is a good project for him. We saw him even in that movie, The Immortals, which is not a great movie, but he is he's electric. To watch. He really is. So to watch him in this kind of movie, I want to see him. We were just talking about Neil Blomkamp staying in one spot. To watch him go for the superhero genre to the spy thriller genre to other, like, I want to see him move around and do stuff. And if he's producing, he'll have that opportunity. If these movies perform, he'll definitely have that opportunity to put himself in more stuff. He knows what he's capable of doing as an actor more than anyone else does, obviously. So if he's producing, putting himself in these, and they succeed, it's a brilliant move.
You know, one of the people on, I'm going to buy this too, on Mailbag this past weekend, somebody asked the question, you know, do you think that Henry Cavill could fall into the trap of George Reeve, Christopher Reeve, Brendan Routh, where they weren't really able to bust out and have like a significant career outside of that role? And I said, well, Cavill's a little bit of a different cat right now. He was a highly sought after, considered a can't miss A-list prospect. Like, he almost was James Bond. He was almost Superman in Superman Returns already. People were, you know, casting directors in this town were looking at him as like, this is a can't miss superstar. He was great in The Tudors. Like, he was just, he was wonderful in that series. Then I thought, once again, I thought he was electric in Immortals, even though the film wasn't all that good, which makes his performance even more impressive.
It does.
And now he's got Man from U.N.C.L.E. coming out as well. So he's diversifying himself. This, if for no other reason, this is a great move for him overall for his career to make sure, because he's going to have like, he's going to be Superman about 8 or 9 times. To fight just being pigeonholed into that, to keep himself active, to keep himself moving, different genres like you were saying is exactly right, and to get into that producing role too. This is absolutely brilliant, very smart on his part.
But if you have to be pigeonholed, Superman's not a bad way to go.
But I was just going to say, look at that picture of him on the right. That's Superman.
Yeah,
that is Superman.
That's Superman right there.
A perfect casting. Well done.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address in the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, every day we take a couple questions out of the mailbag, but we're also going to save a minute or two at the end of the show to take some of your live Twitter questions. If you're watching us live right now, you can tweet in some questions to @AMCMovieNews, and Sinead will pick out a couple at the end. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. So, Sinead, what do we have?
Bardos Sharmak writes, how do you think DC will react to Marvel's slate announcement? Do you think that DC will now put together their own little big show, pulling their trump cards out of their sleeves and announce a Man of Steel 2 and a Batman standalone movie?
We said right from the beginning, when that, you know, when they had that announcement, which wasn't really an announcement, it was a part of a, you know, a shareholders meeting. Right. But when they did that, obviously conspicuous by their absence were Superman and Batman. And they were very clear to say in the statement, not counting standalone Superman and Batman films. We said at the time, they are keeping those in their pocket. They are keeping those bullets in their chamber. You can absolutely rest assured there's going to be a standalone. There's going to be Man of Steel 2, there's going to be Man of Steel 3, there's going to be a standalone Batman film, and they're all going to be before 2020. They're going to be fit into the schedule, which is kind of mind-blowing when you look at the schedule as it is. But there was a reason they didn't announce those yet, because they want to have a marketing trump card. This is their marketing trump card. So, yeah, I absolutely believe at some point in the not very distant future, like within the month, I'm willing to bet that we're going to hear an announcement about Man of Steel 2 and the first actual Batman film.
I think so as well, and I think that Ben Affleck will be announced as director of the standalone Batman film, but I hope they don't have an event. I don't want to see them have an event.
Well, there's not enough there for an event.
No, I don't think there's time for an event, and I think that they have to, and we've said this a million times, like, it's all about Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman. If those movies deliver, then start getting me going about an event, because those have to, because then your timeline's going to be ready to go, like everything that's happening. Yeah, Superman, Man of Steel 2, Man of Steel 3, Batman will be announced. It's a matter of how they do it. I'd like to see it in a little bit more of a fun, flashy manner than you know, a shareholders meeting. That would be more fun to do it that way. Or even if, you know, they did some kind of little smaller thing, but it's not a event, just because then it's going to look a little desperate, I think.
No, I agree.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, just about their difference is an approach. You know, Marvel is very dog and pony show, like they make it this big thing, and then DC, again, shareholders. And I mean, the Comic-Con announcement was a bigger deal, you know, 2 years ago. But in general, I mean, Marvel makes it an event very tight-lipped. So yeah, they were smart, very strategic about holding these back. And yeah, it's going to be Ben Affleck. That would be such a waste to have him be Batman and not have him direct the films.
Is it fair to say we're all going to be shocked?
I'll be shocked
if Ben Affleck is not directing the standalone
And I'll be
I
Batman film.
can't
really
imagine that wasn't
disappointed.
in the contract.
I
Yeah.
agree.
It has to.
Completely.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Alyssa Meechan writes, like everyone else, I loved the big Marvel announcement last week. But did they announce too much? Sure, they can still announce directors and actors, but now that we know everything they're doing for the next 5 years, is there anything left to surprise us with? Any reason to get in at Hall H at Comic-Con for? In other words, did Marvel make a big mistake with the announcement event? Love the show.
There's an aspect of the question that is actually right on. I mean, now there's nothing left for Marvel other than who's going to play Doctor Strange, who's going to direct, you know, Black Panther, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be exciting. That's all going to be great. But really, the question is right. I mean, they kind of blew their load, you know, figuratively speaking. But at the same time, it is becoming more and more difficult in this business and in this town and in this industry to keep anything a secret for more than 2 or 3 weeks. And if Marvel has planned, you know, and after 7, 8 films, it's time to plan. And if they have planned all these films in this strategy, and this is what they're aiming for, and this is where they're going, you either A, take control of it, and you dictate how the information gets out and capitalize on it, or B, you run the risk of it just leaking, having misinformation get out there, and then you're having to struggle against all that kind of stuff. So while it's unfortunate that they had to tell us everything between now and 2019, it's also probably kind of the right thing, because I want to hear it from Kevin Feige. I don't want to hear some whispers of, hey, you know, what's his name? Might play Black Panther, and then have that, you know, float around for a while, and then, oh, they might be doing Inhumans, and that floats around, and then somebody says, no, we got an exclusive, there's going to be Inhumans, and then we don't know what's what. I'd rather Kevin Feige just come out and say, here's what's happening, and lay it on us. So it is unfortunate, but it was the right thing to do. Do you guys see it any other way?
You're telling me at Hall H you wouldn't want to see the Avengers and Inhumans and Black Panther and Doctor Strange. You don't want to see those people on the stage? I mean, there is a lot. Sure, they told us their slate, but also we don't know the details, the synopsis. We don't know the cast, the directors. There's so much goodness left. And, you know, we love to speculate about who's going to be who. So they've done this right. Does it take some of the fun out of guessing? Sure, but we've been guessing for years.
Yeah.
So I think it's plenty more good.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's unfortunate. I kind of love it because it's like it's announcing that we're going to get like a television show. It's going to go up until season 6, and like, oh, cool, what's going to happen up until then? Now I know that Inhumans are going to come in, and then once the casting announcement starts coming into that, because look, when they announced episode 7, that was 3 years ago, and they give you enough fun, enough time to say who's in the cast, who's directing,
They have not given
what's
us
going to happen.
nearly enough.
No, yet, but and exactly that's exactly my point. Is they haven't given us enough, but we can't wait to see what's more. And they're going to do that. And there's so many movies now. Who's going to be Captain Marvel? Who's going to be the Inhumans? Who's going to do all this stuff? It's going to be. I thought it was a great move.
All right, folks. Well, listen, I said we'd save just a couple of minutes at the end of the show, and we are. We're going to take some of your live Twitter questions right now. Make sure you're following us at AMC Movie News on Twitter. So, Sinead, what have you picked out of the Twitter sphere?
Natalia tweets, hey, AMC Movie News, what is your favorite movie based on a book?
Oh, favorite movie based on a book.
Fight Club, baby.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I was gonna say Shogun, but that's a TV miniseries, not a movie.
It's a short story, but does Shawshank Redemption count?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure
I did
does.
short story. Yeah, I need to think about that. I probably got 10 I could rip off, and I can't think of them off the top of my head. So, I like your answers. All right, what's next?
Gino asks, what are your thoughts on John Wick not being in the top 5 at the box office this weekend? I loved it, and I thought word of mouth worked.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. It opened at 14 million, which was better than they were expecting.
Oh, yeah.
But when you open at 14 and you have other new films opening up the next week, you can't really expect to stay in the top
And
5.
big films.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by it.
And the number one movie yesterday was Ouija, whatever, at like 11 million or something like that. Is that along those lines? And John Wick made like 7, so it was only like 4 million away from being number 1. It just was a slower week, but for that movie, I think it's going to live on Blu-ray too. I think more people are going to catch it on Bluray.
And it got brought Keanu Reeves back in a big way. So
Big time.
the mission was, you know, and everyone who saw it loved it. Look at Edge of Tomorrow. We sung our praises, and it didn't make a lot of money either. So it doesn't always translate, but word of mouth is big, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, and keep this in mind too. With word of mouth, you need people to see the film to spread word of mouth. And this was a film that only made $14 million opening weekend. Very small budget. I'm sure they're very happy with it. But that meant there's not a lot of people out there to spread word of mouth. And a lot of films will drop 50 to 60% from week 1 to week 2.
That's pretty common.
John Wick only dropped 44%, which is actually very, very respectable. So even though it wasn't in the top 5, it only dropped 44%. Let me just pull up the number here. John Wick has now made, domestically alone, has made almost $28 million, which, trust me, they are happy about. But yeah, if you haven't seen John Wick,
check it out.
For heaven's sakes, go see John Wick. It is one of these films, I believe, because of the way the action works, you got to see this on the big screen. Go see it when you get the chance. All right, what's next?
T. McKnight asks, is there a race between DC and Marvel to secure big-name talent for their upcoming movies? And who is winning so far?
Yeah, you know what? That is a great question, and probably something that we're guilty of not addressing more of. In talking about the race for securing dates and who's making the bigger press announcements, you damn right. We got like 30 superhero films coming out in the next 5 years. There is going to be a race for talent. Because, you know, back in the day, it was fine. You could have... Look, I ran off a list on this show a number of months ago about like 15 different actors who have been in multiple comic book films for different titles, right? So that's fine. You used to be able to do that. But I'm sure today, like when DC signed The Rock to play Black Adam, there's going to be something in that contract about for at least 7 years you can't do a Marvel film, right? And there are a ton of these big roles coming up and only so much big name talent. Now, it doesn't have to be big name talent, but for some of these, you're going to want big name talent. And there has to be a major race right now. Who's ahead? You're not going to believe me when I tell you this. I think who's ahead right now is actually DC. Not that they have the better talent right now, but if I'm an A-list action star, which obviously I should be, but if I was an A-list action star, right, and I'm sitting back and I've got Marvel coming to me and DC coming to me, and they're both making me these pitches, I'm looking at DC. Why? Because Marvel's already really hot. There's only so much more upside to where you can go with them. But if you could go into DC as an actor and help DC become awesome, Marvel's already awesome. Marvel's already doing it. It's like if you're an all-star basketball player. Do you want to go to that team that you know is already going to win the championship? Or do you want to go to like the New York Knicks, where they're not so good right now, but if you go to New York and you win them a title there, you become immortal. And I'm thinking if I'm a big action star right now, and DC comes to me with a good script and a good plan, and Marvel does too, I think I'm leaning to DC. That's just me right now. What do you guys think about all this?
Chadwick Boseman's too upset about joining the Marvel team. I mean, I think that was a good analogy. I love your sports analogy, especially when it pertains to basketball. But I don't know. It really depends on what you're looking for. Do you want to be challenged? Do you want to be, you know, switching metaphors, the quarterback? Do you want to try to elevate DC because there are a lot of unknowns, and that's really exciting? Or do you want to join the all-star team that has already established themselves because it takes a little pressure off yourself? So I just feel like, but I do agree that something about DC might be more exciting because you have less competition. You're not going against the Hemsworths and the Evans and all these other amazing actors. So I could see potential and the attractiveness of both directions, but you're right about the question because it has never been a hotter time to be in a superhero film, and every hot actor wants to be in one.
And to be fair, for the cast that's doing Marvel movies too, like a lot of these guys, like whether it be Chadwick Boseman or Paul Rudd, they're jumping into characters that are not very well known.
Right.
So that's a challenge all in itself. And even if you have the Immortals and then Captain Marvel and people coming in there, those actors, whoever they do cast as big actors, they also have a big responsibility to get these properties. Look what Pratt did, you know, for Guardians of the Galaxy, like that. So yeah, I think there's a flip side on both, but they're both it's a talent war for sure.
All right, folks, that will do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC theaters right now and opening this week. You can head on over to www.amc Theaters for your theater showtime and movie ticket information, even for Interstellar and Big Hero 6 right now. So head on over there and grab your tickets. And don't forget, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed so you can listen to us on the way to work or at the gym. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tell everybody you know to do it as well. I want to thank, first of all, the people sitting at the table with me, starting to my right, our senior editor of movie news here at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you online?
At Amy Rosie on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget, AMCI Indie Spotlight airs tomorrow.
And sitting right over there, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
You can also find me on Instagram, Christian Harloff, as well as Twitter. And just keep sending those Star Wars questions. The amount of theories and stuff you guys have are amazing.
And of course, because we're going to be relaunching AMC Jedi Council here pretty soon. And sitting over there, our lovely host today, Miss Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you online?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com.
And you can find me on the various social media networks at John Campea. Don't forget, follow us on Instagram at AMC Movie News for all of our Big Hero 6 world premiere pictures tonight. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.